Hi, this is Shubhayan Chakravarti for Revsportz, and this is a very special interview for the India versus South Africa marquee test series. And I'm joined by the legendary pacer. He needs no introduction at all. He's Allan Donald. Sir, thank you so much for taking time out for this, and welcome to Revsportz.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sir, India versus South Africa has always attracted so much crowd, so much attention. India has never ever won a test series in South Africa. But do you think this is the best chance for this Indian team, given the experience and the blend of youth in the team to defeat South Africa on South African soil?
Yes, I do. I do think this is the best chance for India to create some history. Although I will say that any South African team in their own backyard is a very tough prospect. I read yesterday that the strongest possible um, um, South African attack is considered for this Test match coming up at
Right,
Centurion.
right,
So, and I think that it'll be great to see them all in action because Nokia has been out for a long time. Rabada coming back from a foot injury,
yeah,
Ngidi from an ankle injury. So I believe that they're all
right,
good to go, but we'll see when the toss goes up whether they're going to be in there. But look, I think to come back to India,
mm,
I just think that they've got such a settled team, such
right,
a very good settled test team, home and away. Obviously,
mm,
at home it's a bit different with all spin, um, but um, but yeah, I mean this team attack that they've got and built over the last 5 6 years and where they are now. It's a
mhm,
great shame Shami has gone home.
yeah,
I'm a massive fan of him. I think I don't think there is a bowler today that has got a better release than when the seam comes down.
got it.
He's going to be very missed. It's a great shame. But then you've got Bumrah, Shiraz,
Mm,
and the rest. So
yeah,
it's going to be a fantastic prospect. But yeah, I mean, look, you don't even have to go start with the
mm,
Indian and batting lineup. I think they'll enjoy batting here. The ball
right.
coming up to the bat, scoring at Centurion will be at a good rate
Yeah.
if you get loose there. But yeah, it just makes for a fantastic series.
And sir, in 2019, I remember India came back very close to winning the series, but then there was an AB de Villiers masterclass. There was the experience of Hashim Amla, Faf du Plessis in that squad. Do you think South Africa will somewhere miss that sort of experience in that batting unit?
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's Alga's last Test match or
Yeah,
Test series at home, and there's no doubt that Faf du
mm,
Plessis and Hashim Amla is will be greatly missed. But
mm,
it's a batting lineup. I think a Test batting lineup has really been tested,
right,
and it hasn't really stood up to the mark over the last couple of years. They've been under
right,
pressure, this batting lineup. So, but having the
yeah,
youngster from Port Elizabeth, the Warriors in there, they get the hard hitting. I think that, the coach, Shukri Conrad,
yeah,
he's a very aggressive coach.
yeah,
He is, you could see that things with him and the way that Alga's played over the years is not really fitting. He
right,
wants to move on with youngsters. He wants to get on with a new era.
mm,
Guys who really take the game on. So,
right,
so I think that his style will be printed onto this Test match, win or
right,
lose. I think that they want to take the game on. They want to be
right.
aggressive with the bat. So yeah, I think that the inclusion of the young guy, which name I'll still come on to now, just had a complete
Mhm.
brain loss. But yeah, I think we'll see South Africa come out punching hard.
Absolutely. But sir, coming to the Indian pace attack, of course, Mohammad Shami will be missed. But Jasprit Bumrah is coming back into the Test cricket since 2022. He last played his Test match in June 2022 versus England in Birmingham, but has not played any Test match. You have had your share of injuries during your career. You have seen pacers take a long break as well due to injuries and other reasons. Will it be a tough outing for Jasprit Bumrah after coming back after two long years?
Um, Yes and no, and there's a period where I had a great chat with him actually during one of
Yeah.
the World Cup games, and
Okay.
after the game, and it was so good to hear that he's got a very passionate love for Test match cricket. He loves Test
Right.
cricket, and that's awesome to hear.
Right.
He loves the mystery of it. He loves the creativity of it. And you could say that, yeah, he might find his way a little bit into the Test match or the Test series, but it won't take him long. He's
Okay.
too good. He's too good. And I think that he would be, behind the scenes, he would have done a lot of getting his loads up and
Yeah.
just going through his normal routine of getting himself ready for Test cricket. So I think he needs to be allowed that freedom just to settle into it.
Right.
But these guys like Bumrah and Stark and Cummins, and just to name those three, if they come back from injury, it just doesn't take them long to find their mojo.
Right.
So I've got no doubt that Jasprit will be a great factor, like he always is in Test match cricket.
Right.
But I just love his skill. He's just a phenomenal wherever you go. And I work for the DP World Lions now,
Right.
working with some of our youngsters, and they all talk about Bumrah. They love Bumrah. He's a household name. Just love his skill. Look, he's going to have a massive impact on the series. There's no question.
What makes him, according to you, what makes him so special, Jasprit Bumrah? His action, his delivery stride, or the way he moves the ball away from the left-handers?
His action's quite unique, and I mean, there isn't any bowler in the world that has got a release point as late as his. A lot of guys are sort of upright, if I can sort of there, but his is more in front of himself a little bit, and then he's got this amazing wrist turnover that he can do anything with the ball, whether it's swinging it out or swinging it in. It's fascinating. When we had this discussion in the World Cup, he said that one thing that he still needs to figure out is how to be patient with either a left-hander or a right-hander with a stop delivery. So, meaning that he needs to be more patient with a right-hander swinging the ball out and lining the batsman up a little bit more with. So his in-swinger is the big surprise ball. He says he bowls those too often, which is a little bit predictable. So he knows exactly what needs to be bettered. So, but I think that's what makes batsmen very edgy about him, because you just don't know what is coming next. He uses the crease so very well. He goes up and down the crease, wide, mid-crease, close, and then
angles.
Of course, the angles on the crease, that is very unsettling for batsmen, because if he's swinging it out from wide to a right-hander and the new ball, that's very difficult to defend. But I just love just the outright skill this guy has. It's just lovely to watch.
And sir, talking about the South African bowling unit, of course, Ngidi and Rabada will be massive for South Africa, though Hendrik Nokia is missing this Test series due to injury. But there's another pacer, Gerald Coetza, who has just taken the world by storm. I recently interviewed him, and his clarity of thought regarding his bowling, how he treats his opponent is absolutely stunning to see at such a young age. I believe you have also seen him very closely. You have, I guess, worked with him as well. How do you see Gerald Coetza? He's been tipped as the next Dale Steyn for South Africa cricket. How massive will he be for this series with Nokia out?
Yeah, look, it's been talked about for a while now, and I had the privilege of being the head coach with him at the ITEC nights, and I saw this firebrand coming through, and he had a lot of questions. He wanted to play very quickly for South Africa, and wanted to pull him back from that a little bit and focus on doing well for our team. But he's arrived. This kid has now announced himself in this Cricket World Cup. And of course, he's signing with Mumbai Indians. Is a huge break for him. He is going to be the tearaway. He's going to be that guy that the veins will pop out of his head. when he takes a wicket. He loves it.
Headband,
He's
yeah.
extremely passionate.
That headband.
With the headband, and you know, so look, if he gets the ball, things will happen. I think that he will be very aggressive. He'll have a license to be aggressive. He'll have fields, and I think that's where he's got better tactically, is when he knows that someone, and I think he thrives on a guy like bowling to a Rohit Sharma or a Virat Kohli, who loves to take on the short ball. So that, I think, will be very interesting contest to have, because he loves getting involved in those contests. So it'll be fire with fire with Gerald. It's my job was always to go after players like Brian Lara. The moment Brian Lara walked to the crease, the ball came to me, and it was just a license, go, just go take him down. And I think that's what Gerald Coetzee, his job will be. He will be the battering ram for South Africa. He'll be throwing the ball to come and ruffle up a few feathers. So, yeah, look, I'm so pleased for him. I am really pleased for him. He's a fantastic prospect, but the way he's arrived on this scene now has just made the world sit up and take note that this young firebrand is not here to be messed with. So yeah, it's gonna be awesome fun when he takes the ball.
Oh, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Rohit Sharma's pull shot against Coetzee's short delivery is going to be fun. But you briefly mentioned Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma, perhaps their last tour of South Africa, given their age. What are you expecting from these two giants of world cricket?
They will be motivated to come and make a statement here in South Africa, and there's no doubt. I know Virat. I know how his mind works, and having spent time with him at RCB, there is no doubt in my mind that he would come here to go out. If that's his last tour of South Africa, then and no one knows. Then I think that Virat will want to come here and to really ram it down the throats of South African cricket. So, and he needs no motivation. He is he's a highly motivated guy anyway. But no, those two guys will be coming here to if it's their last tour, to go out with a massive bang. But I just think the fans in South Africa, you know, the Indian support that they'll get. Not only that, I mean, there's a lot of South Africans that are fans of those two, watching them in the IPL and the World Cups. And yeah, there's no doubt that the threat will come from those two. The leadership will come from those two. And, say nothing more. I think it'll be fun to watch.
Do you feel that the defeat in the World Cup final will just boost their motivation to win and script history in South Africa? Both of them, Rohit and Virat?
Yeah, maybe. But I think that these big players, and they just know to shelve the emotions of the World Cup a little bit better than the others. They will be more motivated to care about the team and leave those other issues at home. And I think that their actions will just lead from the front. They don't need to say anything. Those guys are absolute legends of the game. They're legends of Indian cricket, and they will come here with one statement in mind: is to go after South Africa. And I think that's their mindset anyway. That's how they work. That was where their greatness lies. Is that their absolute professional attitude and mindset will take over.
Right. So last couple of questions from my side. Number one, it has to be about bowling in South Africa, pace bowling in South Africa. In England, we see it's more dependent on the swing. In Australia, it's more dependent on the bounce with less swing. But in South Africa, somehow the pacers get both the swing and the bounce. So what is the secret behind bowling successfully in South Africa and be very, very consistent with it? We have seen Rabada doing it for years now.
Well, the venue that the first test is at is probably one of the bounciest wickets in South Africa, Supersport Park. I feel that there, the length, more than anything else, will be a crucial factor. So, you're talking about 6.5, 5.5 meter length. That's where you need to be, because there's a lot of caught behinds. You look at the stats. A lot of the dismissals will become behind the wicket. It's just the tradition of the place. If anything, it's got a little bit quicker over time, and it will be a very good test pitch. You'll be able to score, and if you get loose here, if you stray in your lines, you will get punished all day. We found that sometimes playing test series is that if you get as a group, if someone does pounce on you and the reversal of the pressure is made by the batting team, then you could struggle to get back into the test match. So but the length here is, and the new ball, the use of the new ball and the length is to get people forward here. We've often seen Dale Steyn and how wonderful the length that he bowls is almost like a 4-meter length. Right. So you'll find that Bumrah and Shiraz will be tested to find that length quickly. So Cape Town is going to be traditional. It's going to be flat. It's normally a very grindy wicket there. Once again, your new ball, and sometimes the ball gets reversing there. But yeah, look, I think the venues that these test matches will be played on, I still say it's a great shame that we don't play India in 3 tests. It really is. I would have loved to have seen 3 test matches. One in Pretoria, one in Joburg, one in Cape Town, or Cape Town, Joburg. But yeah, it's not often you get India in your backyard, and it's such a spectacle. To have them here, and there's always a massive buzz. But yeah, look, maybe some other day.
I recently last couple of days back, I went to Fanny de Villiers, your new bowling partner back in the days, to his mansion to interview him. And he said, after the ODI World Cup, you could have easily chopped out the ODI series and added a test match into this one. 2-match test series where India have not and has never won a test series in South Africa. It's just a shame, and I completely understand what you're saying. But my final question, sir, I'll turn the clock back a decade or 2 back. You had such a fierce rivalry with Sachin Tendulkar, Rahul Dravid in particular. Rahul Dravid is now traveling to South Africa as the coach. What are your memories from that 96-97 series, which made a lot of headlines back in the day?
Yeah, I mean, we were. I mean, the second time that they came, we played them in Durban, and that test match was over in less than 3 days. And then, of course, my recollection of bowling one of the best balls to one of the greatest players that's ever played the game, nipping through the gate and hitting the top of off, that was a great feeling. And we often, even the last few days, we were sitting in the dressing room, and we were talking about the Indian series and way back, and then when we played in Durban, when that pitch was so quick, so it was such a, and the lineup that India had with Dravid, and I think my frustration came with Dravid in a one-day final, I think, and also at Durban, where I overstepped the line a little bit. Well, not a little bit, just a lot, to try and upset him and try and get him out. And we've had some giggles and shake of the hands in the World Cup. Look, those were just enormous players. There's a few others that spring to mind that was just outstanding. Ganguly as well, so he was leading that team at that stage, and it was a great privilege. It was a great privilege doing battle against, especially the little guy. I've got so much respect for him. He's just, you don't get a better human being than him. He's such a wonderful person, and what he's done for Indian cricket over such a long time. And a lot of people want to emulate him. A lot of people want to get close to his records. Will it ever be? I even said that if there's one person that I think would get close, and that's Virat Kohli. But people have got lives. They want to crack on with him, and I think that if it's the intention of those two greats to come to South Africa and this is their last tour, wow, we better enjoy the next 10 days of Test cricket with those guys in our country, that's for sure.
That's I guess the perfect note to end this interview. But before I let you go, Allan Donald's prediction for the series. It's a two-match series, but your prediction for the series.
I just say that I know the South African mindset, and I know what motivates them, even even if they are underdogs. If people say they're underdogs, they will still think they're better than the opposition, and that's why it's so tough to beat them. South Africans just know, in their mentality, especially in their backyard, they just know how to win here. They just know not to. We've got a thing called refuse to lose, refusal discontent, and I think that for me is a South African. It's an in thing that sits deep. So I think you'd have to say that India would probably be favourites for this series, but I predict a 1-0 for South Africa here in South Africa. I think India in Cape Town will be tough. It'll be tough for both teams. I think it might spin a little bit, not a lot. South Africa won't allow the spinners to get in into the series. But I think 1-0 South Africa.
1-0 South Africa. That's a big prediction. So hope the Indian players are listening to it. But thank you so much, sir, for taking time out for this. It was a fascinating chat and an absolute pleasure to have you here at Revsportz. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Go well.